like there are times when you have to put on the correct hat for the moment. And that resonated with me my entire life. So that command was amazing. You know, I follow on after that with a command that was not as stellar in my opinion, but it really, because my first command mattered so much and meant so much to me, like I never planned on getting out of the Navy until I was told to get out. That changed at the end because my priorities shifted. But I just enjoyed, I always loved the Navy. There were days that were hard, but there wasn't a lot of bad days.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it.
Nice. So there, like you said, small group, 9 people, Chief Petty Officer is the guy. I could see the enjoyment, right? Especially if you guys are taking care of business, no one's in your weedy, everybody's squared away. When I was a recruiter, we were a small shop. It was a first class petty officer was the lead guy in charge. All of us were second classes. And yeah, we would have personal and professional lives. And at that rank, at that stage, you could do that, right? And we didn't have some of the politics that I would say we get exposed to as we get more senior in our careers. That's a challenge for, I think, all of us, right? And even as I see it, even as a high school ROTC teacher, I see it because I have all these leaders in all these positions. And if they spend too much time with a certain group, then people start they're all the buddies. So that's why they're going to be on this team or that team. And you got to be like, well, no, that's not how it is. But then I remind my leaders, like, hey, be aware, there's perception. People are always watching. They're always talking. And unfortunately, humans love to talk, right? They just love to talk. And sometimes it comes back to haunt us. So did you leave your first tour as a second class?
No. So that captain's mast thing I mentioned, I got busted down from E4 back to E3 when I was in Texas. And then I put E4 back on, and then I went to Keflavik, Iceland as a second tour dude.
Okay, and that was after 9/11 was Iceland.
Yes.
So when 9/11 happened, you were in Texas.
I was.
Okay. How did 9/11 affect your community? Do you remember it being an effect to the AG community as far as life after 9/11 from your perspective?
So at the time I was a young sailor, so I didn't know enough about my community per se to really know the impact. I know there were 2 AGs that were killed in the Pentagon during 9/11. But for me being aware of how it impacted the community, I don't really know that. I just remember I was, during 9/11, it was kind of unique because we had MCPON, Terry Scott would routinely fly in and out of Fort Worth because he lived down there and whatnot. And the Secretary of the Navy would fly in. So when 9/11 happened, we actually had the Secretary of the Navy. His staff was in our office, in the Meat Talk office or the weather office. We were all watching the news live. And so we actually had people that were like they could see where the planes had hit the Pentagon, and they were like talking about names of people they knew that were in those places. So it was much more like, it wasn't just a news story. You actually watched people's lives like kind of crumbling because they were seeing things and like people they knew and spaces they worked in, and they had walked the halls that were now collapsed.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of unique in that aspect that they were there. And then I remember they were like, okay, nationwide, all planes are grounded. And they were like, nope, not ours. And sure enough, SECNAV was out the door. But that was probably, I'll never forget when I can't remember her name, but she was like, you see her getting emotional because she's like rattling names of people that are there. It was really something.
Yeah. I always ask people that, especially for those of us that served that generation, because just the United States Navy went up to like 11 after that, right?